And as our countdown comes to a slight close, here we are at Resident Evil 2. Now, this one was my favorite for a while until Resident Evil 3 came out. Okay, so for like a year. But, anyways, this one introduces two new protagonists. Actually, it introduces three. No, four. Wow, I can't even count today. You have Leon and Claire. Those are your two main ones. Leon is a rookie cop that just arrived at Raccoon City right as the outbreak in Raccoon City is taking place. And then you have Claire Redfield, the younger sister of Chris Redfield from the first game. And then you have a couple of supporting characters. You have Ben, who doesn't really serve much of a purpose other than being the one that pretty much uncovers the conspiracy behind the Raccoon City incident, and that's how the chief of police was involved. And then you have the girl Ada Wong, who's famous as all hell will get now, and you know she's one of my favorite characters from the series. She's kind of this femme fatale character who Leon meets, and it's like she's this mysterious character, and you're like, there's more to her than what she's allowing to be revealed. And if you catch on to some of the things that happen when she pops up, you're like, yeah, okay, there's something up about this girl. Then there's Sherry Birkin, who is actually the bane of a lot of players for this game. A lot of people didn't like that you had to play as her, and they didn't like the whole babysitting her kind of deal, but I got over it, because I think, if you have a grenade launcher, you're fine. And, they give you plenty of ammo with that thing. But any other characters? Oh, yeah, Chief Irons, who is a villain who I feel like is underrated as crap just because he's fucking batshit crazy. But I talk about him so much that I'm kind of going to dodge him and talk about just the game itself. This one plays out basically about the same as the first game. There are a few differences. Most notably, the amount of enemies that pop up on screen at once. The first one, it was like you'd have maybe 3 at the most. This one can have up to like 6 or 7, something like that. I think it's 6 is the highest it ever gets. But, you'll have rooms full of zombies. You'll have hallways full of them. It introduces plenty of new enemies. It actually has like a whole new lineup of enemies, if I'm being perfectly honest. You have the Lickers, which kind of replace the Hunters, although I would take on a Licker versus a Hunter any day. I will take a Licker. Let's see, what are some other enemies? Oh yeah, the Ivies, which are basically miniature versions of Plant 42. You have a giant crocodile, although you don't really fight it so much as you just... it's not really a boss fight. It's one you can dodge, one you can avoid. What are some other enemies? There's the Fidos, the Crows, although the Crows aren't really a prominent enemy. They appear in, like, I think a whopping like 2 rooms, and that's it, but that's about how much they appeared in the first game. What are some other enemies? There wasn't really a big lineup of enemies in this game, was there? But yeah, you have plenty of bosses, especially there's actually 2 main ones, and that's the Tyrant. I believe his name is Mr. X. Some people call him the T-Zombie, like Necro, myself, some other people call him that. I've called him Mr. T at sometimes. I say, like, I pity the fool who crosses my path, or some bullshit like that. I pity the fool that has a G-Virus. I'm going to whoop his ass. But, yeah, that guy stalks you from place to place, and I almost consider him like almost a creepier version of Nemesis. Don't get me wrong, Nemesis is 10 times more intimidating than this guy. But this guy doesn't say any words. He doesn't, he's just slow. He's like a slow-moving monstrosity that just, minus rounding corners, he's actually, pretty vicious. And when he shows up, you freak the fuck out. The other one is actually the main monster, and that's the William G Mutant. And that guy goes through some really fucked up transformations as you progress through the game. He's actually one of the most iconic monsters, and some people have even compared his like his second to final form as like just being reminiscent of a legit demon. And I would say, yeah, that guy's fucking scary looking. He fucks a lot of shit up. But, the difference between the first and the second one is the first one was just the isolated little mansion, isn't it? This one, it affects an entire city, although you do not spend very much time in the actual city. The majority of the game takes place in a police station and then, like, the underground sewers that are kind of underneath Raccoon City. That's where most of the game takes place. And then, of course, you have the traditional laboratory bit. So, yeah, you spend maybe, like, the first 5 minutes of the game in the actual city. But Resident Evil 3 came out, and... obviously, you spent more time. You spent the first half of the game in the city, just exploring it, trying to avoid zombies. Watching the outbreak just completely destroy the city from within. It's complete chaos and anarchy. There's just no hope left, and all that other jazz. This one actually took away the differences between the two characters from the first one, i.e. Jill had more inventory slots, but she took more damage. Chris had less inventory, but he could dish out more damage, and he was quicker to draw his gun, and he was like a little bit fat. He was kind of a little bit better minus his inventory as opposed to Jill, who was actually also, her scenario was actually a lot easier because she had more ammo as opposed to Chris, because Chris didn't get the bazooka, Jill did. Although Jill didn't get the flamethrower, but that's not really a minus because the flamethrower was a piece of crap weapon anyways. But yeah, this game pretty much, both characters are pretty much the same. They're both as fast, they both draw a gun up as quickly as the other, and they all have 8 slots for their inventory. And then there's like eventually an item you get that allows you to have up to 10, which is, you know, something new to this that didn't happen in the first one. And there has been a lot of talk about a Resident Evil 2 remake. Capcom's been saying if they got enough fans involved in it that it would happen. Honestly, this can go one of two ways. They can make it like they made Operation Raccoon City, which if they do, I don't know. I'll go crazy and like, I don't know. I'll go shoot up like Capcom headquarters or something. Not really. I wouldn't actually do that. Tempted to, but I wouldn't actually do that. Well, you know, they could do that, or they could go about it like they did with the Resident Evil remake. Now, the ideal way for them to do this, and this is just me speaking my mind out, my mind out, jeesh, if I can say the damn word straight, and that would be to combine Resident Evil 2 and 3 into one big remake. You would have, basically, you could play as Leon or Claire, and then you'd have the story from Resident Evil 2 basically copied over to here. They could expand the city bits in the beginning. They could expand the police station, make it look more like a police station, because I feel like the police station didn't really feel like a police station. In fact, I don't even know what it felt. It felt like a bunch of random buildings just molded together. Now, that isn't to say I didn't like the scenery. I didn't think it looked cool. It looked fucking great, but at the same time, give it a little more of a police station feel. I mean, keep it generally the same, but just add like some doodads, some stuff in the background that makes it look more like a police station. And then you could also combine Resident Evil 3 with it, like I said, and you know, you could have the whole Nemesis bit, keep it the same length, keep the story generally the same. You know, obviously improve the voice acting, because there was some questionable voice acting in the second one. Not nearly as bad as director's cut, but still quite bad. There were just a couple of lines that were like, what? Did you just say that? Wow, that came out weird. Wow, that sounded forced. And then, in addition to that, they should either re-release the remake from the GameCube onto here alongside Zero and re-release them for the PS3 and 360. Now, I doubt Capcom will actually do that, even though it'd taken like a whopping 10 minutes to do it, because all I got to do is convert the files over. I don't care. It can look the same, because the Resident Evil remake and Resident Evil Zero have aged well. In fact, I consider them graphically superior to a lot of 360 and PS3 games. But yeah, I mean, if they did that, that would be great, because, you know, they're kind of just sitting back there. I mean, they did re-release them for the Wii, but it's kind of just sitting there on the Nintendo side. If you re-released it for the 360 and the PS3, those bucks would be rolling in right into your pockets. And then you would hear hey, your fans want something, you know, you'd hear that. And hopefully, like, the sales from this, from a Resident Evil 2 remake, tacked on with the Resident Evil 3 remake, and, you know, re-releasing the Resident Evil the Resident Evil remake and Resident Evil Zero, if they released all 4 of these, you know, not necessarily combined, but 2 and 3 together, and then those 2 as, like, re-releases, then maybe they would see what a lot of fans have been begging for, and maybe they'll go back to making the survival horror aspects of the game again. So, you know, we can hope. So, Resident Evil 2, have any of you played it? Have any of you liked it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you want to beat Capcom over the head with it? Or did you want to do all 3? Although the majority, I think, are going to say the first one and the last one. You know, you love the shit out of this game, but you want to beat Capcom over the head with it. But anyway, folks, so the Resident Evil 2 remake, it's still up in the air, but Capcom has talked about it. So, hey, you know, I guess we'll see in the near future. Maybe the next big Resident Evil release will be the Resident Evil 2 remake, and if it is, you can bet your ass that I will be happy as shit. I will have the fangasm of a lifetime. Just, wow. But anyway, folks, that's it for me, so I will see you all shortly.